Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something huge for new parents, especially moms, navigating those first few wild months with a new baby. We know it's a lot, adjusting to everything.
It really is. And that's kind of where we hope to help. Think of this as, your guide through some of the big things that pop up, the stuff that causes the most questions, maybe a bit of anxiety.
Exactly. So, our mission today, we've gathered insights from lots of places, practical stuff from Huckleberry, taking care of babies, solid starts on food introductions, plus medical guidance from big names like Boston Children's, Cleveland Clinic, Alberta Health Services, even the CDC.
Yeah, real mix.
We're aiming to pull out the really key helpful bits on sleep, hygiene, feeding, and vaccines. Trying to give you clarity, without making your head spin.
Right. We've got practical tips, expert advice. It's a good blend. The goal is just a clear, maybe even slightly fun chat to help make sense of these really crucial parts of early motherhood.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Sleep. Feels like the Mount Everest of having a new baby, doesn't it?
Well, it really does. And the advice out there,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming sometimes. So let's try to break down what the sources are saying for babies around, say, 4 or 5 months old. What are we even looking at sleep-wise?
Okay, so the numbers. For a 4-month-old, the aim seems to be around 14 and a half hours total sleep in a whole day.
Total. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe 11 to 12 hours overnight. And then the rest, like 3.5 to 4.5 hours during the day in naps. Then by 5 months, it looks pretty similar. Total still, that 14 and a half hours ballpark, but maybe a little shift. Less daytime sleep, perhaps 2.5 to 3.5 hours. Still aiming for that solid 11, 12 hours at night.
And it's so important, I think, to stress that these are just averages.
Mm-hmm.
Every baby is different.
Okay.
Watching your baby, their mood, their energy, that tells you just as much, maybe more, than hitting some exact number.
That's a really good point. It's a guide, not a rule book. Okay, what about naps then? Because those can feel chaotic.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a moving target sometimes. At 4 months, you're probably still looking at 3, maybe 4 naps a day,
Mm,
adding up to that, 3.5 to 4.5 hours of daytime sleep we mentioned.
right.
And yeah, short naps. Super common, 30, 45 minutes. That happens a lot at this age. One tip, though, is maybe capping any single nap at around 2 hours, just to help protect that nighttime sleep.
Ah, okay. Don't let them sleep too much during the day. Makes sense. How does that change as they head towards 5 months?
Well, often around 5 months, you start seeing a shift towards a more predictable, maybe 3-nap schedule. This usually happens because their wake windows are stretching out.
Wake windows, right. Heard that term.
Yeah, the time they can comfortably stay awake, those start getting longer, maybe around 2 to 3 hours. So that naturally pushes them towards fewer, slightly longer naps. It's a transition, though, not usually overnight.
So, what are the typical wake windows for this 4 to 5 month age range?
Generally, you're looking at something like 1.5 to 2.5 hours, often shortest in the morning right after they wake up. And then they tend to get a bit longer as the day goes on.
Okay.
With the longest stretch, usually right before bed, understanding those can really help you nail nap timing, hopefully avoid that dreaded overtired state.
Right, because overtired babies just don't sleep well. It's counterintuitive.
Exactly. It makes it harder for them to settle down.
Okay, so we have an idea of how much sleep, but how do we actually get them to sleep? Let's talk routines. Nighttime routines.
Yes, so important. Routines are like little cues for the baby. They signal, hey, sleep is coming soon. It gives them security, predictability.
And when should you start one? Is it ever too early or too late?
Honestly, whenever you feel ready, there's no magic starting date. Even something super simple can make a difference. Consistency is the goal.
And what makes a good routine? Does it have to be complicated?
No, not at all. Simple and consistent. That's the key. Same few things, same order. That's what helps the baby understand.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, common ones are a feeding, maybe a warm bath. Interestingly, that slight drop in body temp after the bath can help make them sleepy.
Oh, right. I've heard that.
Yeah. Then diaper change, pajamas or sleep sack. Maybe read a quick book, sing a little song, then into the crib awake.
Awake being the key word there for learning independent sleep, I guess.
That's often the goal, yes.
So,
And what about timing? What time should bedtime actually be?
good question. For babies over 4 months, the sweet spot often seems to be somewhere between 6:00 p.m. and 8:00 p.m.
Okay.
It tends to line up better with their natural sleep rhythms, helping them fall asleep easier and maybe stay asleep longer. Having like a 30-60 minute window gives you flexibility too.
Flexibility is good. Life happens.
Totally. And you mentioned that last wake window before bed being important.
Yes. Definitely. You want them to have enough sleep pressure built up.
Hmm.
Tired, but not wired.
Yeah.
You might even need to wake them from that last nap sometimes to protect bedtime.
Wake the baby. That feels wrong.
I know it does, but sometimes it helps ensure they're ready for that long night stretch.
Mm.
Also, try to do the feeding at the start of the routine, not right at the end to drift off.
Okay, feeding at the start. Got it.
Right.
Now, the big question, sleeping in their own room. This one feels complicated.
It really can. Because you have the AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics, strongly recommending room sharing for at least the first 6 months.
Right, for SIDS prevention, that's huge.
Absolutely crucial. But then there's also some research suggesting that after 4 months, room sharing might sometimes lead to, well, less sleep for everyone, more night wakings.
Oh, how's
The
that?
thinking is maybe parents are just hyper aware of every little grunt or wiggle when the baby's right there,
Right.
and maybe they intervene when the baby might have actually resettled on their own. It disrupts sleep cycles.
Interesting point. So, what's the advice then? When do you make the move?
It's often suggested somewhere between 6 and 9 months of, improving sleep is a major goal. But honestly, it's such a personal decision. What feels right for your family, emotionally, practically, that matters most.
Are there signs a baby might be ready, besides just age?
Yeah, a few things might point that way. If they're definitely 6 months or older, if night wakings seem more frequent and not just about hunger, if your sleep is really suffering,
Yeah.
or maybe you're expecting another baby, need the space, or you're planning to start sleep training soon, those could all be signals.
And if you decide, okay, time to make the move, any tips for making it smoother?
Definitely. Spend playtime in the nursery during the day so it's a familiar, happy space. Keep that bedtime routine exactly the same. Just do it in the new room,
Consistency again.
always. And decide your pace. Some go cold turkey, others do it gradually. Just be patient. There's usually an adjustment period.
Okay. And quickly, sleep clothes. We didn't have tons of detail, but what's the general idea?
Comfort and safety, that's it. Clothes right for the room temperature and safe for sleep. So probably a sleep sack by this age. Remember, around 4 months, babies might start rolling, so swaddles are usually out by then. Arms need to be free.
Good safety reminder. Okay, let's talk sleep training. Another big one often comes up around this 4 to 6 month mark.
Yeah, starting around 4 months can be helpful for teaching independent sleep skills. Results vary, of course, but it lays groundwork. It's really about helping them learn to self-soothe, connect sleep cycles. Skills they're often developmentally ready for around this time.
But sleep training sounds scary to some people, like it just means cry it out.
Right, and that's a common misconception. It's actually a really broad term. There are lots of methods, from super gentle, no tears approaches, all the way to, yes, extinction or cry it out.
Can you give us a quick rundown of a couple of different types?
Sure. So cry it out, or extinction, is basically putting the baby down awake and letting them figure it out on their own, no check-ins. Can work fast, but it's tough emotionally for many parents. Recommended usually around 4 or 6 months plus.
Okay.
Then you have graduated extinction, like the Ferber method. That involves checking in, but at increasingly longer intervals. You offer brief reassurance, but generally don't pick them up.
A bit more interaction there.
Right. And then there are even gentler methods involving staying in the room, gradually doing less to help them fall asleep. Those usually take longer, though.
And can you do this while they're still in your room? Room sharing?
You definitely can start while room sharing. Some parents find it works fine. Others feel it goes faster, maybe easier, once the baby's in their own space.
Right.
Less temptation to intervene, perhaps.
Makes sense.
But yeah, whichever method, wherever they sleep, the goal is the same, helping them learn that skill of falling asleep independently.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk hygiene. Basic care stuff.
Right. Bath time often comes up here. Like we mentioned with routines, a warm bath can be a nice part of winding down. That temperature drop afterwards really can help signal sleep.
So do they need a bath every single night?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Consistency in the routine is more important than the nightly bath itself. Actually, bathing too often can sometimes dry out their skin.
Ah, good point. What about things like dry skin or eczema? Our sources didn't detail those much, but any general hygiene thoughts?
Yeah, well, we didn't dive deep into specifics on those conditions today. Gentle care is always good. Mild, fragrance-free soaps. Patting skin dry instead of rubbing.
Okay.
But if you're seeing persistent dry patches, rashes, anything that looks like eczema, definitely talk to your pediatrician. They can guide you on specific creams or routines.
Always check with the doc for specifics. Got it. Okay, next big area. Food. Starting with milk. Breast milk or formula.
The foundation, right? So breast milk is generally recommended as the only food source for about the first 6 months, and then continue alongside solids for at least a year or longer if you both want.
And formula.
Formula is designed to meet all their needs too, including iron. With either, though, it's good to chat with your pediatrician about vitamin D drops and maybe iron supplements, especially for breastfed babies after a few months.
Good reminder. What about other drinks? Juice? Water?
Big no on juice before age 1. Just not necessary, lots of sugar. And water. Healthy babies usually get all the hydration they need from breast milk or formula in the first 6 months. You can start offering small sips of water with solids, maybe a bit more if it's really hot out, but milk is still the main drink until they're 1.
Right. Now for the exciting part, starting solid foods. When's the time?
Generally, the recommendation now is around 6 months, but it's less about the calendar date and more about readiness signs.
Yes. The signs. What are we looking for?
Several things together, usually. Can they sit up well with minimal support? Good head control? Are they reaching for things, putting them in their mouth, and showing real interest in your food? Watching you eat, maybe opening their mouth when food comes near. That old advice of starting purees at 4 months isn't really the standard anymore for most.
Boston Children's also mentioned doubling birth weight, around 13 pounds.
Yeah, that's often another indicator they list, along with being able to move food from the spoon to the back of their throat, not just pushing it out with their tongue.
Okay, so baby showing the signs, pediatrician says go. How do you actually start?
Gently. Really small amounts first, like half a teaspoon, maybe even less. Talk to them. Make it positive. Offer a little milk before or after so they aren't starving and frustrated.
Right, it's about tasting, not filling up yet.
Yeah.
How fast do you increase the amount?
Slowly. Maybe work up to a teaspoon or two over a few days, and never force it. They turn away, clamp their mouths shut, just stop. Try again another time. Remember, milk is still primary nutrition.
What about the first food? Does it matter what it is?
Not really for most babies. Iron-fortified single-grain cereals are traditional, but things like pureed meats, a good source of iron and zinc, especially helpful for breastfed babies.
Okay. And introducing new foods, how does that work?
The usual advice is one new single-ingredient food at a time. Wait maybe 2-3 days to see if they tolerate it. Okay, no rashes, tummy upset, then try another new one.
And variety.
Yeah, offer variety over time. Veggies and meats often pack more nutrients than just fruits or cereals. And interestingly, the guidance now suggests not delaying allergens like eggs, dairy, peanuts, fish beyond 4-6 months unless there's a specific high risk. Introducing them early might actually help prevent allergies.
Wow, that's a big shift from older advice. Good to know. You mentioned iron being important around now.
Yes, hugely important. Around 6 months, their birth stores start running low, so getting iron from food becomes critical. Again, breastfed babies might need a supplement. Talk to your doctor.
And definitely no cereal in bottles, right?
Absolutely not, unless a doctor specifically says to for reflux. Big choking hazard and can lead to overfeeding. Also, quick note, if your baby isn't sitting pretty well by 7 months, maybe check in with the pediatrician about that milestone.
Okay, so texture. How do we go from purees to, like, real food?
Gradually.
Yeah.
Start smooth, then move to mashed, lumpier textures as they get the hang of chewing and swallowing. You can blend cooked foods, mash soft things like banana or avocado. Just no added salt or seasoning.
Cook most things first.
Yeah, cook most fruits and veggies until soft. Once they can sit well and bring hands to mouth, you can try soft, small finger foods. Think tiny pieces of soft-cooked carrot, ripe banana chunks, pasta.
And avoid choking hazards.
Critically important. No whole grapes, nuts, hot dogs, popcorn. Anything small, round, and hard or sticky, always supervise closely.
Makes sense. And diaper changes. What should parents expect once solids start?
Oh yeah, things change. Stool gets more solid, different colors, definitely smellier.
Yeah.
You might even see bits of undigested food like corn kernels or veggie skins. That's usually normal.
Okay.
But if you see really watery stools, mucus, or baby seems unwell, call a doctor.
All right. Last big topic, vaccines. So vital.
Absolutely. Essential for protecting babies from serious diseases. Our sources didn't list the full detailed schedule. That varies a bit anyway. But the CDC always says, read the vaccine information statements, the VIS sheets your doctor gives you.
Right. Get informed about each one.
Exactly. Alberta Health Services mentioned examples like DTaF, IPV, HIB-HB, influenza, rotavirus, MMR, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Your pediatrician or public health clinic will have the exact schedule for your child.
And how can moms support their little ones through the whole process, before, during, after?
Good question.
Yeah.
Before. Read those VIS sheets. Bring their immunization record. Maybe pack a favorite toy or blanket for comfort. If they're older, Be honest, a quick pinch, but it keeps them healthy. No scary stories.
Okay. And during the actual shot?
Ask any last questions. For babies, cuddle close, sing softly, talk to them, make eye contact, hold them securely. For older kids, distraction is key. Tell a story, point something out. Support them if they try, don't scold. Deep breaths can help too.
Good tips. And after they get home, what's normal? What helps?
Expect maybe some mild reactions, soreness where the shot was given, maybe a little redness or swelling, sometimes a slight fever or fussiness. A cool, damp cloth on the spot can help. Lukewarm sponge bath if they have a fever. Offer extra fluids. Ask your doctor about non-aspirin pain relief if needed, like acetaminophen or ibuprofen depending on age. Lots of cuddles.
And when to worry?
Call your doctor or health line if reactions seem severe or unusual. Trust your gut. Alberta Health also suggests gently moving the arm or leg that got the shot. And remember that no aspirin rule for kids, especially after the chickenpox vaccine. Oh, and schedule the next appointment.
Q. That was a lot, but so helpful. Okay, quick recap. We covered sleep needs for 45-month-olds, naps, bedtime routines, moving to their own room, safe sleep clothes, and sleep training options.
Right. Then hygiene basics, starting solids around 6 months based on readiness, how to introduce foods and textures, and finally, supporting your child through vaccinations.
And just to reiterate, this is all based on the general info from our sources. Your baby is unique.
Exactly. Your experience might be different. Trust your instincts.
Definitely. And please, always talk to your own pediatrician for advice tailored to your child. They're your best resource for any specific questions or worries.
Absolutely. Being informed is great. It helps you feel more confident. Hopefully enjoy this incredible, crazy time a bit more. You're doing great.
Totally agree. And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. How does really understanding these basics, sleep, hygiene, food, vaccines, actually help new moms feel more empowered, maybe find more joy in these demanding early months? Think about which part feels most challenging or where you still have questions. Maybe that's something for us to explore next time. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.